really difficult to find apartments and at the price that it's needed to sustain their living here.
Syrian refugees face many hurdles to get into the U.S. and could soon face many more. But once they're here, it's a whole new set of challenges.
Going to any San Diego neighborhood and who is, caring for yards, who is helping take care of cleaning houses and providing child care.
One scenario for paying for President Trump's wall is a tax on the money immigrant workers send home. And some worry it could have reverberations across the San Diego economy.
We're out here in front of Anthony's Fish Grotto, which closed down in January. Now its replacement could be delayed. KPBS Evening Edition starts right now.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Ebony Monet. Another day of waiting as a federal appeals court in San Francisco decides whether to reinstate President Donald Trump's travel ban. That ruling could come tomorrow. The president has already slammed the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals as being, quote, so political. His executive order temporarily suspended the nation's refugee program and immigration from 7 mostly Muslim countries. San Diego's resettlement agencies say nearly 60 refugees will arrive this week, and more refugees are expected this month. But with the ruling expected soon, the agencies aren't sure how much farther ahead they can plan.
Unfortunately, there is so little information on which way the things are going to go that we are also unsure. Do we need to maintain the capacity and be prepared to serve clients that are coming, or are we going to have to think ways to work with a different budget than what we originally planned?
Jewish Family Services in San Diego was due to accept nearly 300 more refugees this year. Refugees fleeing their home countries face a lot of uncertainties along the way, but for those who arrived before the proposed restrictions, anxiety still runs high. KPBS reporter Taryn Mentos says many refugee families are struggling to make ends meet even after they've resettled in San Diego.
Sisters Doha and Rahaf cuddle stuffed animals while bouncing on the bed in their parents' room. 4-year-old Doha will sleep in the large bed tonight with her mom and dad. 6-year-old Rahaf will sleep in the only other bedroom, where she shares 4 twin beds with her 5 other siblings. The father of 6, Jalal Falah, says the 2-bedroom apartment is a step up from where he was living just a few weeks ago. Back then, the family of 8 lived in 2 rooms at an El Cajon motel. He says the situation wasn't ideal for his kids.
With the kids, if one was by himself, one would be indifferent, but with children it was very bad in the hotel. It wasn't suitable for children.
Falah was among nearly 800 Syrian refugees who arrived in the county last year. They trickled in at first, partly because of lengthy background checks. But at the end of the year, more than 400 arrived within a 2-month period. This left resettlement agencies like the International Rescue Committee scrambling to find affordable housing for hundreds of people on limited funds around the same time.
We have a very hourglass workforce.
The committee's Erica Boree says the agency has good relationships with landlords in the county to help with this, but the economy is making it more difficult to rapidly find affordable housing.
We really do work with a wide variety of properties across multiple neighborhoods in San Diego. But it is definitely true that, as the economy in San Diego has come out of the recession, unemployment rates are down, vacancy rates are down, all of those kinds of things certainly contribute to a more competitive rental market.
Because of this, some refugees were left in temporary housing longer than usual, including the Falah family, who say they were in the motel for nearly 2 months. The family originally comes from Syria after their home was destroyed in the country's civil war. Like most refugees, they arrived with no credit and no salary, 2 key steps to getting an apartment. The agency receives a one-time stipend of about $900 per person to cover everything from clothing and furniture to a security deposit and rent. Boree says the agency also looks for homes near public transit because few refugees can afford a car.
So it's a balance. Obviously, you want to get that family out of the motel as quickly as possible, but you also want to make sure that they're going to be in a home that's going to work for their family as they settle in.
While they waited for an affordable place, the Falah family's one-time allotment was paying their nightly motel room rate. It came at a discount, but after a few weeks into the family's new place, Falah is worried the leftover funds and his cash assistance and food stamps from the county won't cover all of his family's needs. After the IRC covered the necessities, he says he only received about $1,000 from the agency. The IRC wouldn't detail how the rest of the family's $7,400 was spent, citing privacy concerns. Falah explains his worries through a translator.
The rent is 1,300 والكاش اللي بينزل لك
1300
and the cash exactly 1,300. He said 1,300 without water or electricity bills.
In comes Bayan Nitar, an interior designer turned accidental nonprofit founder. An immigrant herself, Mitar launched the Syrian Community Network in San Diego after a friend introduced her to a newly arrived family.
I could tell they had nothing, and when I'd open my trunk to show them what they needed, if they needed anything out of what I brought of necessities, they only took a few items and gave me numbers and addresses of other families that needed more help in their opinion.
Since then, she's delivered clothes, toys, microwaves, and even furniture to dozens of Syrian families, mostly in City Heights and El Cajon, including the Falahs. But she says the biggest need is rental assistance.
I know the resettlement agencies are doing their best to try to get them out, but some of these families are really large, and the rent prices in San Diego for apartments is extremely high. So with the amount of money they have and are able to afford, it's really difficult to find apartments and at the price that it's needed to sustain their living here.
Mitar's organization has made contact with 170 newly arrived Syrian families in the county and now helps cover the rent for 115 of them. More are asking each day, including the Falah family. Falah says even his 6-year-old daughter knows there's something to worry about.
So I have a daughter 6 years old. She says, "Dad, what happens if you can't pay for the house? Will they take us out? Would we have to sleep outside like the people who sleep outside in the garden?" I swear to God, that is what the little one asks me.
Recalling the interaction brought tears to his eyes. He said he hopes to find a job soon, but he hasn't learned English yet. And because of an old injury, he might need surgery, another hurdle to employment. Still, he says where they are now is better than where they've been before. Taryn Mento, KPBS News.
Some state lawmakers are looking for ways to make settling in California easier for certain refugees coming from overseas. They've introduced a package of bills to help refugees enter school and the workforce more quickly.
Here, we're going to go the extra step. We're going to do what we can to welcome the refugees and ensure that they know that they are as much a fabric of our community as anyone else.
One bill aims to eliminate the one-year waiting period to qualify for in-state tuition at public colleges. Another looks to help refugees join the workforce by helping them obtain a professional license in California. Republican lawmakers are trying to counter an effort to make California a sanctuary state. They're introducing a bill requiring local and state law enforcement to work closely with federal immigration officials to arrest and hold accused felons who are in the country illegally. It's the opposite of a Democratic bill introduced last week. That bill forbids local agencies from sharing information unless there's a warrant.
To me, that's a very dangerous thing to do. We've, for long, post 9/11, we have noted that it is very important for all levels of law enforcement to work together and to communicate with each other. And if you're going to build a wall between those people, I say that you're going to make a very dangerous situation for a whole lot of us in California.
Democratic leaders say they want law enforcement focused on the safety and protection of California citizens instead of doing the work of the federal government. Mexicans living in the U.S. sent a record $27 billion to their families south of the border last year. The surge was due in part to fears about President Trump's threat to target money known as remittances. KPBS Fronteras reporter Jean Guerrero has the story.
Cada 2 semanas. Teresa Gomez shows me the cash she plans to send her mother in the Mexican state of Jalisco.
That's $400.
She sends her mom $400 twice a month at this small money transfer shop, El Frijolito.
400.
Gomez is one of millions of immigrants who sends money to family in Mexico.
Gracias, señora.
El Frijolito charges a fee of $5 or $10, depending on the desired exchange rate. Some immigrants use larger transfer companies like Western Union. Last year, remittances surged to an all-time record of $27 billion. Immigrants in California sent the largest chunk of that, about $8 billion. The surge is due in part to President Trump's threats to target remittances as a way of forcing Mexico to pay for his planned border wall, which would cost anywhere between $5 and $25 billion.
We will be, in a form, reimbursed by Mexico, which I've always said. So they'll pay us back? Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
In campaign memos, Trump floated ideas on ways to do that. One way was to tax or interfere with remittances. The owner of El Frijolito, Mariceli Castro, says money transfers skyrocketed after Trump was elected president.
Las líneas daban hasta acá en la puerta. La gente empezó a mandar grandes cantidades de dinero. Creo que muchos empezaron a sacar su dinero del banco, lo que tenían ahorrado.
She says if Trump follows through on his threat, it would be devastating for her business and clients.
Que en su mayoría tienen un trabajo honesto y que con el sudor de su frente ganan el dinero para poder enviarlo. Entonces,
now there would be a lot of opposition to this.
Gordon Hansen, dean of UC San Diego School of Global Policy and Strategy, says a ban or tax on remittances would have to be broadly applied.
It would be basically a tax on electronic transfers. Now, the thing is, what's the difference between an electronic transfer that is a remittance versus a transfer between two business entities? On paper, they look identical.
As a result, he says, it would hurt not just people who are in the country illegally, but the entire San Diego economy, especially industries that rely on migrant labor.
You look at our construction industry, you look at bars and restaurants and hotels, so the San Diego tourist industry, go into any San Diego neighborhood, and who is caring for yards, who is helping take care of cleaning houses and providing child care.
For example, Gomez is a dual U.S. and Mexican citizen. She lives in this small apartment with her conure parrot, Panchito.
¿Comer manzana?
She says Trump's threats worry her a lot.
Porque, pues, ¿cómo vas a castigar a tantos ciudadanos que venimos en manera de trabajadores y de buen pensar y de buen hacer aquí en este país?
Gomez immigrated to the U.S. as a teenager with the dream of supporting her aging mother, Carmen, who has heart problems and lacks health insurance in Mexico.
Yo siempre he sido el sostén de mi mamá. Yo siempre la he mantenido para su comida, doctor, todo lo que le haga falta.
Gomez works at a grocery store in Barrio Logan, reserving a third of every paycheck for her mom.
Cuando llega la mercancía, poner precios, acomodar la mercancía.
Sometimes she works the cash register too.
Un porcentaje de las remesas que tú mandas a México.
If Trump targets remittances, Gomez says she'll find a way to send money to her mother no matter what.
Yo lo que siempre he pensado que uno como ser humano, o más bien como mexicano, para nosotros los mexicanos no hay nada imposible.
If need be, she could cross the border into Tijuana to transfer the money. But for immigrants who live far from the border, or who lack legal immigration status, it's more complicated. Marina is a 37-year-old immigrant who asked us to keep her identity secret for fear of deportation.
Yo me dedico a limpiar casas. En veces cuido a una niña. Es lo que me dedico a hacer.
Marina also supports her sick mother in Mexico. She sends her cash every month for medicines and food.
Envié $500 y me cobraron $4.99. Aquí está.
She says she wouldn't be able to afford a tax on remittances. She can barely afford rent as it is.
Y nunca tengo un tiempo para salir. Y es rara la vez cuando yo voy a ver una película al cine o a comer con una amiga. Es prácticamente casi me la llevo todo este tiempo.
Trump's threats scare her because her mother depends on her. She says she's afraid of going back to Mexico, where homicides rose by 22% last year.
Mi familia, cuando yo platico con ellos, me dicen que cada día se pone peor y hasta ya les da miedo salir a la calle, que ya a veces ya mataron aquí, que ya mataron allá.
But she says she hopes Trump finds another way to pay for his wall, because she can't afford it. Jean Guerrero, KPBS News.
The California Coastal Commission is weighing in on the replacement of Anthony's Fish Grotto. It had some concern a new restaurant project may face delays. KPBS reporter Steve Walsh is at the site of the former landmark, which closed last month. Steve?
Well, that's right, Ebony. Last week, the California Coastal Commission sent a letter to the Port of San Diego saying that they intend to review their approval of the project to replace Anthony's Fish Grotto. The Port of San Diego replied just yesterday saying that in its own letter that the Coastal Commission doesn't have jurisdiction over what they're calling the Portside Pier project. The Coastal Commission has instead set a new appeal period for this project, which is going to run through February 21st. The fear is that this could delay the $13 million restaurant complex run by Brigantine, which is set to open next year. This dispute could begin a legal battle that they're fearing could last for years. So the port did release a statement today which indicates that they seem to hope that they can work things out, saying that as a steward of the tidelands, we are developing the port in a reasonable or responsible manner. It's not unusual for public agencies in the course of their duties to have disagreements. In those cases, the port works toward amicable resolutions. So there's still time. The port hasn't voted on this lease. They're not going to do that until their March 14th meeting. In the meantime, we're out here at Anthony's Fish Grotto. You can see, the close sign. They haven't served a meal here since January 31st. You can see the sign here starting to age, thanking their customers for 7 decades out at this location. It may be the last time they've served a meal here for some time. Reporting from the Embarcadero, Steve Walsh, KPBS News.
Thanks, Steve. A new report finds some of San Diego's poorest communities are also the most polluted. Barrio Logan, Logan Heights, and National City remain among the top 5 to 10% of communities in the state most impacted by pollution. The numbers come from the Office of Environmental Health Hazard Assessment and were reviewed by the Environmental Health Coalition. The EHC says people who live in polluted communities have higher rates of emergency room visits for asthma and heart disease. Today, a settlement is reached in the Aliso Canyon natural gas leak case. The Southern California Gas Company will pay $8.5 million to settle a case filed by the South Coast Air Quality Management District. Some of the money will fund a study about the health impacts of the leak. Residents say they suffered from headaches, nausea, nosebleeds, among other ailments. The leak was discovered in the fall of 2015. It was capped 4 months later. Scientists say it was the largest known release of methane in U.S. history. California lawmakers have introduced an assembly bill that seeks to increase the statute of limitations for sexual assault victims looking to take civil action. Currently, they have 3 years. The bill extends it to 10. Lawmakers say many sexual assault victims delay reporting assault crimes, and the measure would provide them with more time to come forward.
These days with social media, sometimes things aren't discovered until years later. So this way, if something's discovered later on, the victim still has a recourse to seek compensation.
Last year, the governor signed a law eliminating the statute of limitation on criminal prosecutions involving sexual assault. According to a survey by the CDC, about 20% of women and 2% of men have reported being raped. The CDC says 1 out of 4 American adults has had hearing loss. KPBS health reporter Kenny Goldberg says the agency's new study reveals a surprising percentage of young adults are among those affected.
The report finds 19% of Americans between the ages of 20 and 29 have lost some of their hearing. Hearing loss is something that typically affects seniors. Dr. Ted Mazer is an ear, nose, and throat specialist in San Diego. He says it's an issue that usually isn't on the radar for people under 65.
People in their 20s, 30s, 40s, they don't think about hearing loss. They just go about their daily existence. And once the cumulative effects of exposures to noise creating hearing loss become apparent, it's too late.
Mazer says one of the likely culprits is frequent listening to loud music through earbuds or headphones. However, he says only one exposure to excessively loud noise can cause permanent hearing damage. Kenny Goldberg, KPBS News.
I'm Judy Woodruff. On the next News Hour, I sit down with House Speaker Paul Ryan to talk about his agenda and the first weeks of the Trump administration. That's Wednesday on the PBS News Hour.
The U.S. Drought Monitor says nearly half of California is out of the drought, but the state's water managers are keeping drought restrictions in place at least until spring. They say it's just a precaution, but some water agencies say it's causing confusion after one of the wettest winters we've had in years.
Well, I think people are confused why there's a drought emergency when they see the water, that's outside. However, past the several years when we've been in this drought, the ratepayers have stood up and have learned how to use their water efficiently, which will continue today and going forward.
The Water Resource Control Board also got an update on conservation. Consumers reduced their water usage by about 20% in December. Well, whether we're officially out of the drought or not, San Diego is getting more rain. Brittany Boyer has tonight's forecast.
It was a beautiful day out there today. You know what? We're even warmer as we get into Thursday. Unfortunately, turning wet once again as we end the week. But you know what? Snow levels with this storm system will be staying high on Friday, so I don't expect many impacts out there. Satellite and radar showing a lot of the moisture for today has been just off to our north, but we're going to see that moisture working its way here into Southern California as we get into the end of the week. Overnight tonight, it's partly cloudy. Overnight low temperatures right around 58 degrees here in San Diego. Out toward Mount Laguna, of course, a little bit cooler, 38. We're staying nice and dry with mainly clear skies, and into Ramona, temperatures overnight tonight in the low 40s. For your Thursday, we'll be turning even warmer here in San Diego. A nice little warm up is in store. To our north, heavy rain continuing over northern and central California, but again, we are going to see some rain once we get into Friday afternoon and also into Friday evening. Here's a look at future high temperatures as we get into your Thursday. So again, much warmer out toward Alpine, temperatures near 80 degrees. Mount Laguna, highs will be topping out into the 70s, and here in San Diego, we're looking at temperatures pushing into the low 70s. So yes, turning much warmer. Looking ahead at your Friday, though, the rain will be spreading north to south. At this point, it's looking like we will see up to about 1/2 inch of rain in the coast and the valleys, and then snow levels will be around 7,000 feet on Friday. By Saturday, we'll see snow levels dropping just a bit, but I don't expect much in the way of accumulating snowfall over the mountains. So we'll play out futurecast for you as we get into your Friday. Starts off nice and dry. We will have increasing clouds, then the rain starts to move in north to south. So around Oceanside, I think we'll see a little bit more in the way of moisture and just a couple of spotty showers as we get down into San Diego on Friday. Along the coast, well, Friday is going to be a wet day. We'll see afternoon rain turning cooler as we get into your weekend here, but with plenty of sunshine on the way. Inland, going to see a big drop in temperatures as we get into your weekend. Friday, occasional rain in the afternoon. That's after a beautiful day tomorrow with plenty of sunshine, highs near 80 degrees. By the weekend, temperatures much cooler in the upper 50s on Saturday, and then about 10 degrees warmer on Sunday. For the mountains, mid-70s tomorrow with a nice and sunny day. By Friday, we chop off about 20 degrees, so much cooler. Saturday, highs only in the 40s. Sunday, looking like the better of the 2 days, at least a little bit warmer. The deserts will be very warm on Thursday with lots of sunshine and then cooling off by the weekend. For KPBS News, I'm meteorologist Brittany Boyer.
New Mexico is a long way from the moon, but for a new study out today, a San Diego scientist looks at New Mexico desert sands to test out a theory about how our moon was formed. KPBS science reporter David Wagner has the story.
The 1945 Trinity nuclear test in New Mexico produced extreme temperatures, turning sand near the blast site into a greenish glass known as trinitite. Scripps Institution of Oceanography geochemist James Day says this historic nuclear test didn't just change world politics. It also gave scientists like him a perfect natural experiment for testing theories about how the moon came to be.
We needed something that was high enough in temperature to approximate the conditions that we think occurred during the formation of the moon. And the trinitite material exactly matched those conditions.
The theory goes that the moon formed as a result of a huge object the size of Mars colliding into Earth. Like a nuclear bomb, this giant impact would have produced extremely high temperatures and tons of debris. By chemically analyzing trinitite samples, Day found that the shards of glass closest to the blast site were missing volatile elements like zinc, which must have been vaporized by the nuclear explosion. Day says zinc depletion can also be found on the moon, providing further evidence for the giant impact theory.
In fact, what we found is that these glasses almost exactly match what we see in lunar samples themselves.
Day led the study. He acquired these unique samples by collaborating with scientists at NASA and Washington University. David Wagner, KPBS News.
A new report finds what many San Diegans already believe. San Diego is one of the best places in the nation to live. U.S. News ranks San Diego number 22 out of 25. Austin, Texas ranks number 1. Other California cities that made the list include San Jose at number 3 and San Francisco at number 16. The list considers a city's desirability, job market, and affordability. Now, here's a look at what we are working on for tomorrow in the KPBS newsroom. On Morning Edition, 80 films, 5 venues over 12 days. The San Diego Jewish Film Festival kicks off Monday. And on Midday Edition, why a new study says Latino and Asian Americans are less likely to be politically active compared to whites. That's tomorrow at noon on KPBS Radio. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.